But then, as you said, I've come across such partnership when I used to be in the UK. For example, we used to work in research between our university, BT Exact, which is an R&D for the British telecommunication company, and another company called Influx. And I've come across Siemens, they are financing some MSc students for some universities. But how, I mean, we know there are some partnerships, but how can we develop? I mean, if you can add to what Professor Chan just said.
Well, first of all, there should not be a gap between the local industries and the university, because they should help each other. Now, one way to do that, so you have first of all, you have to have a communication between the two units. That how can we eliminate the gap between us, and that means the university can say create a academic industry partnership board, for example, where you select some people from the industry, some people, key people from the university, where they will have a discussion and meeting to come up with an idea how can we reduce or eliminate the gaps between us so that we can become a customer of each other. In other words, the university can ask to the industry, how do you think we should structure our curriculum so that our student becomes a natural customer for you? So they don't have to go nationwide to find them. They can find all their trained students in the university that nearby. Same thing, faculty can ask also question to the industry that how can I have serve as a consultant so that industry can maybe get a lot of research done with a low cost, and faculty would be an interesting basically partner for them so that they serve the needs of the industry at the same time. So there are many ways to do that. The main thing is you have to communicate. Both units should communicate, say how can we meet, discuss how to eliminate the gap or reduce the gap.
I have a question about this topic. You know that we are not in that level that in a lot of problems that we face are solved in the developed countries. So our companies prefer the foreign solutions, and usually these solutions are very expensive. So how to convince these companies to use our local solution?
I think what he means is that there are some solutions, I mean IT solutions or engineering solutions that are developed locally. How can we make it up to the standards that people industry can actually buy them or need them?
There is a trust problem here between the local engineers and the industries.
How to fit the local?
Because what I mean, we have a problem here in Sudan. Usually, companies tend to buy very expensive foreign, I would say, solutions. Where at the same time, we know, I mean, not just because we're academic, as I said before, I work for the industry as well. We know that we have better solutions. Better doesn't mean that better than Europe standard, but better to suit our own needs. That's what I say. So I mean, how can we?
Once again, it's a communication. You need to convince that you are using that particular product. We know this is our product, and this is highly comparable. Cost is half the price, and the industry has to really analyze what is really the difference between the two. And if they think that product is comparable and the price is much cheaper, I think the industry would review exactly their position. And I do believe this happens all the time. That in any, it's not just in the developed country, even in developed country, that you always under competition, that there are multiple people coming up with the same product, very comparable, but difference in price. But then your job is to convince that my product is equally well, however low price. And industry will be interested in that because industry job is to find the most cost-effective product.
It is not
easy to sell a product, even if you're in the developed country, if you had a good solution. And many people had to solve it in a hard way. In a hard way means you start a business to sell your product. You actually start a business. If you have a better solution than the big company,
You mean by start solutions, not only about
they actually
technical
start
technologies that you are providing.
start a small company, make the product, start a company,
Small.
just a small company.
Mm.
And they see you successful, they buy you. And many people had to do that in a very hard way. That's unfortunate. And you have the option not to be bought. You can continue your own. And I had seen startup companies in South Africa before. The student had a good solution in security. And they start that as a product, actually sell that. And that create a lot of job in the research because the university can continue to do research to make the product better and better. And it's like a small company under the umbrella of the university. You look at a lot of products that are like that, they actually start from the university. Facebook was supposed to, and even router started from Stanford. Looking for company, we cannot limit our mind. These are the company, and we have to go to them. And if you go to them to accept it, that's fine. If they don't accept, you have to take the risk.
Make your own.
When you make your own, you may not get all the way because there are lots of risks involved. And at a certain point, when they see you, when they see you successful, they hire you. Or they may take your solution sometime.
Okay, what about the qualification certificates? If you get them, you can trust, or you make the industry trust on you if you have a certificate to get your European standards.
Then
They're talking about how to be qualified to get a job. No.
No.
product qualification.
About,
Yes,
yeah, certificate qualification. If you can get international certificates about your
ISO.
I mean,
So it's a lot of work to go through.
you can make it
And
trust on your
and you really had to hire some business people, engineer people to go for all this. As a researcher, you don't have time to go for all
They have
this.
don't have even money for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting patent is very expensive.
Yeah.
So they have to work very hard to convince
Yeah.
that our
Right.
product is actually purchasable.
Okay, I have another question.
Mm.
Every year, many projects, student projects, students make it to graduate. How to get benefit from it? To make them not put it in a roof or ignore them. I meant how to get benefits from this project to make them a good project in a market.
There are so many projects that
Graduate.
I mean, for academic point of view, our graduates really they have very good projects, and we know that I mean what I mean by we know I mean we believe in what they develop, but unfortunately at the end of the day they ended up on shelves or on libraries. So.
Yeah.
And as he said, when they graduate, when they leave university, sometimes they feel down because they know that they have developed something great when they were at the university, but they left it, nobody actually used it.
The end of
So how can we I mean sell the projects that are developed by a student? We know that it's not they cannot sell it right away because at the end of it, it's like an idea. It's not a complete product. But how can we can go back to the partnership with the industry? How can we sell these ideas to the industry? Maybe just few of them, 10% of them can benefit the industry. So,
Well, that's still a difficult thing, exactly how to make the products aware of to outside the university, to industry. So one way would be create an annual fair with all the projects in it. So and send an invitation to every industry that we will have a particular day where all the students will present their projects, and they should come or send a representative where they will visit all of those projects and then come up with an evaluation and analysis that yes, I would be interested in that particular project and I'm not. And that way would be one to begin. And remember that once that happens, that becomes a tradition. And so there are many ideas you can have, but the whole thing is how to make you aware of the product to outside world.
Yeah.
Have you come across such a situation in your experience? Or something?
Basically, it's the academic problem.
Yeah.
Because the academic problem, the output of the research is on the paper.
Yeah.
It's the published paper, and that's the end.
Yes.
It is a problem with the university for the whole world. They don't care whether it goes to product. They only care how many papers you publish. And
To become a professor.
the professor is not
Social
motivated to make sure the product is useful either, as long as it's published.
Yeah.
So this is a global problem. And not every one of them may go to product, but all these ideas end up in the shelf as a sad thing. And we basically had to make certain decisions on what are the important ones. Besides exposing it to the industry, we need a way to find out which of them are promising and to be extended. One of the issues that I faced before when I was in Cape Town was that every student is working on a different project because they were required by the university to do something different. Now, if you want to make a product that doesn't work, you don't have 100 products. You have to concentrate on some of them. You have to work on one, and then the next student come in and make that better, and better until it becomes a product.
So as you spoke about the papers and publication, what do you think about the scientific and industrial value of the paper presented in this conference? Are they represent a real participation in the world of science and industry, or they are presented just for publication and aim to be professors and so on?
So what about the quality of the research that you have come across in this conference?
You mean how we can solve the problem that all the researches are put in the paper and published in the library? How we can make it a real application that solve a problem
I'm saying about the presented paper in this conference.
Yeah. What about the quality of this? I mean, definitely you have come across few papers, because there are so many papers that are presented during the
Are they
conference.
satisfied?
Do you think they are of good quality? We continue to have solid ground for research in Sudan?
Let me back up a little. You know that academic research is slightly different than industry research. Industry is geared towards creating a product that will be a business for them. People will buy it, and that's how they will survive. Academic projects is sometimes for our personal and professional growth. So there are many papers that was presented. They are just basically what they learned, something different, some additional contribution in the field. However, there are some projects which can be carried out further to make it a practical value. So until you make it something practical that can be useful, then you cannot convince anybody that will be beneficial. But most of the times you will see that academic means that we are trying to look at our personal and professional growth to make some contributions in the field. And that doesn't have to be a product always. It could be just theoretical research. Okay? But somebody will probably use that theory to create
At some point.
at some point.
Yeah.
And so, but it does happen.
Can be a ladder, bridge.
Well, that can still be, see, there are some engineering product where they're making something, design something that maybe an industry will be interested in. And that you need to make a judgment how valuable this project and the research is to convince to other outside people that this should be worthwhile to look at for different things.
For students who wants to make their graduation projects, how they can see that this project is an academic thing, you have to research and make a contribution, or they have to do it in the stereo way so they can make some product to produce.
Yeah, there's actually a dilemma here in our students. They usually think about whatever they do. I mean, everybody wishes whatever they do is purchasable. Everybody can. I mean, this is a dream of even us. We have something that maybe like Big Bang, we sell it, we become rich. But does it have to be always like that, Professor Chan?
Not always. I mean, it's not always. The output is not wasted in the sense that what you have learned is that this person has started something from new, worked through a problem, and that is the learning process myself. If it is not used, the person is more mature. That's how we graduate the student. So, and the university had been taking that role for a long time. And now we run in a situation that we cannot afford doing that for everybody. So we cannot rule out this role because this is a useful role, even though the paper adds up. But the student gets smarter. And if you really want to get, but what is lacking is that you don't have an alternative role for someone to actually see to the product. Now that part is not easy at all. In any company, turning something into a product requires a whole team of experts. A whole team of people in different fields working together. All of them are experts working together.
To make a product.
To make a product. It's not
Easy job to have.
but at least you solve the fundamental technology first. And even that fundamental is often more than one person's thesis. And if you have an option that you have people working together, I don't mean their work. Now, this is sensitive. Are they copying from each other from the thesis? No, it's not like that. Because you have two different aspects. You do this part, the other one does that part. Some of the projects are like that. And then you are getting closer to the product. You still have a lot to do, but you make it more mature. Then if you are really product oriented, but that needs the faculty to guide the students. You basically, instead of all the students working in different areas, that was what I see happening in Africa. But in the United States, it's different. You don't have, when you have 10 students, you don't have 10 students on 10 different physics topics. At that time, it was so difficult for me. I had to be expert in 10 different fields. They all pick different things, but in the United States, it's a different model. It's basically, that's a direction from the supervisor. This is the area that I want to look at. I may not be the expert in this field. You do change direction. This is the direction. This is a hot area. Everybody has to work on it. There is enough room because the whole industry is working on the same area anyway. There are hundreds of companies, people working outside already. Having several people working together is not competing for the same thesis because they have different ideas.
So don't you think that in the same sense, don't you think that it's not only about the thesis, it's about the skills that are developed during this graduation program?
Of course, whenever you study something, whenever you have a critical thinking skills, and you are basically presenting something different than what was in the literature before.
Mm.
That gives you some kind of maturity. And question is, what kind of maturity you need in order to get to a goal that you have. So you have to have a specific goals that I'm doing a project is for what? Is it to create something that is usable by the industry and get a patent, or I want to add some contribution to the field? And so, but no matter what you do, everything is a learning process.
You are going to develop critical thinking
That's
skills.
correct.
I mean, like collaboration with other people.
That's right.
Making some projects, they include some interviewing. You want to interview some people, make survey, observations. They are all skills that are needed at some point of your life.
That's
and
correct.
your way to research.
So the goal of the graduation project is to learn and to develop the skills.
That's correct. It's the whole thing is a learning, new learning every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there could be some learning takes you a different avenue than others.
Okay.
Everything is very important.
So I mean, it's always about research. I mean, the way these points that have been raised already by those young students, they're thinking about getting something to be solved. So how can we make them enthusiastic and more interested in research?
Well, there are many ways to do it. It's not that always interested. To some extent, when we say a student, why are you studying computer science or electrical engineering? It's basically they find out that that gives a future opportunities. And therefore that future opportunity encourages them to particularly go to that particular study or research in that area.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. Number two, there might be some resources in one field more than the other. And so if you have, in computer science, if you have 200 scholarship and electrical engineering has only 5, then definitely you will attract more students.
Okay.
And at the same time, so that's one aspect. So what kind of resource you are giving to your new students to encourage them to come. Second is how you can convince them that if you study, then you have a future that will lead to a successful life. Those criteria will basically encourage students to come and do that. Sometimes it's very hard, but they know that if I work hard 4 years, I will definitely have a better life. On the other hand, you take another field which is easy to graduate without any requirement, and they may not have any future avenue to succeed. So basically, you are talking about what is your future goals, what kind of life you want to lead in the future. So those things will encourage students to come and do research if that's what it is. And now what happens? Many students. Many departments say, well, in order to graduate, you have to get involved in research, which basically means they're trying to produce a quality graduate which will have a better maturity, better quality thinking skills, so that they can contribute better in their employment life.
John?
I take a career in research myself, so I just tell the student what I feel about research career.
Why researching?
First of all, it's always new. It's not something that you do. I start research in my PhD in gravity wave detection in superconductivity, which is completely different from what I'm doing now. And when I went to AT&T Bell Labs, my work was to have the manufacturing people. They are all mechanical engineers, and try to give them a different perspective to solve the manufacturing problem. And then I end up with a field in product reliability, which is completely different. So I changed field so many times already. And after I had done the work in reliability, I decided that there's a need for wireless communication. So it was many years after I graduated that I changed the field completely. Changing the field completely means I become a nobody. Being well known in the field of reliability, product reliability, I became a nobody at all, and learn again. And I do enjoy, I do not regret, because I see that when I did the reliability, I see that because when I use product, they fail, and I get upset about it myself. And why can't we make the products more reliable? I thought it would be useful to learn. And when we do wireless network, I can see that when we have network, it will enable a lot of technology. And I also see it as useful for the different country because I see it important, so I work on it. Now it doesn't guarantee it will forever. If I'm still young, I could be still changing field. So I went through a research career in which I keep changing field because there's a problem. There's some way I can contribute to society. What I enjoy is that I'm trying to do something that contribute to society and not necessarily asking what I get back from it. I get a job anyway. I had that already.
But I'm looking for some satisfaction maybe.
If I only look at my accomplishment, I may not choose this career. That's what a lot of people are doing. There may be an easier way to get an easier life. But the question is that
About yourself.
when I look at myself, I have done something. I did something to the society. So when I live in this world, I don't just go back, oh, I had a good position and enjoy my life and then I disappear. I'm seeing that I have all this gift with me. I can help the society, help other people, and that is something that I enjoy myself. It's up to the student whether you enjoy that or not. Some people might say, okay, I prefer to do a business, and
I'm enjoying myself.
money.
And that's enjoyment for them.
And if I want to be a CEO, maybe the business person become the CEO, not the research person.
So,
We need people. The society need people who contribute to society.
Solve the society problems.
It's not just the society means the people. When we grow the services, more and more services to the people, we are indirectly solving the poverty problem for the whole world. The poverty problem is solved when we continue to make the world more efficient, create more jobs, something.
Okay, I want to ask how can we promote the idea of developing skills to students, because many students here in Sudan think it's about certification and getting certified. So in order to get qualified to get a job, they need skills to develop skills as well, as the prof said, critical thinking. But here in Sudan, we have many students that think that it's only about certification. How can we promote this idea of developing skills?
Well, see, different people will have different goals for future. Somebody said, for example, in the US, you have 4-year college, 2-year college, and graduate schools and all this. So, depends on what your future goal is. You go to an appropriate institution. And so, if somebody said, I only need to get a skill to do this kind of job, then they will have to go to that, learn the skills. And somebody says, no, I want to go differently. I want to have critical thinking, I want to have a better future, I want to have a higher growth. And therefore they will choose different institution which will give them a different growth. So yes, it is possible that some people will always say, I need a certification to get a job and that's all I want to do. But that's not the 100%, it's only a percent of the society. So you will see, and that percentage is difficult to say what percentage is that, but I believe that you will always have, the society will be divisive, that there will be always a percentage which I want only this, because that's my future, and some people say, well, I want to do this because that's my future, because it depends on the individual's priority about their future goals. So I think it's not that everybody would like to just have a certificate and then wants to take a job. If that's the case, then all these higher institutions will be just have no students. All these students who need the skills, they will have 100%.
yes.
That never happens. Same thing going back, when we say talk about the product, one product is people buy a product which is higher price rather than a local product. But again, the society is divisive. There's always a division, local society versus global society. some people, because we have a society structure, some are rich, some are poor, some are in between.
Yeah.
And so based on their own resources they have, they will have to choose their product from different sources. Not everybody will buy the most expensive perfume.
Yeah.
And that's why you have tons of companies have perfumes.
Yeah.
Everyone gets sold.
Yeah.
The reason is, as a society, we have different zoning.
Yeah.
That's what we call, right? So the depends on what your capability is, what resource you have, you will have to choose a particular product that suits your needs. And so that automatically dictates that you cannot always get the highest possible one. And same thing here.
If I can, I mean, as you said, you've been working in different countries, different universities, maybe different industries. In Sudan, when we think about research, from your experience, what do you think the challenges that would face us to establish good research in Sudan that really helps our community? And maybe if you give us some ideas of how to overcome these challenges.
As a university, you need to, teaching the basic is the requirement, right? And now we're adding more requirement that we need to know what, try to understand the industry. It would be helpful that to have more dialogue with the industry too, so that basically when you are more aware of the problem in the country, where there's health problem, you are more aware, network problem, communication problem, it gives you more idea of how to do research. You also have to start the motivation somewhat from the teaching. There are enough students who just want qualification. We cannot exclude that. Okay, we still have to let them graduate anyway. But you're also motivating some of them, and then some of them are more motivated. They are the ones who will create jobs, start business, start company, and the rest who need qualification will benefit from them too.
Yeah.
So as the top universities in the country, you have the role to train some of those people, and starting from the classroom, you are getting more aware of problems, not just from the. I give you an example. Many years ago, I tried to do research, but then I was also interested in education, and there was a university in State University in San Jose. They set aside endowment to find someone from the industry to be a visiting chair professor, only for 2 years. Only for 2 years, to bring something new to the university. So for me, it was a different perspective because I'm not been teaching, and now I interact a lot of students. But what I'm teaching is very different from the style of other people, because I keep asking them the problem they have. And then besides teaching network and communication, one of the courses they asked me to teach is on probability. And in probability, the textbook will tell you, give all examples of how to pay the car and also on. The whole book will examples on how to pay the book, how to gamble, how to do probability. And I don't think that it's appropriate to teach probability. So you look at so I have to think very hard, what are the real problems in the society, and set that as questions in the homework. The homework questions are not on how many cars you pick, how many in the probability walk. But what is the big problem? What's the probability of things that are happening in your life? And it's not a new problem. It's not anywhere more difficult than regular mathematical problem. Mathematics is nothing more difficult. But some students find those problems very difficult because they are used to think of gambling. And as a electrical engineer, you learn probability because you are looking at the problem in the network. There's so many different areas. And it was an extra job for me because I cannot find those homework assignments from the textbook. have to come up with many different ideas. What are the problems in the real society? What are the problems in engineering and so on? Try to create those problems. And students try to think differently at that point. They're starting that from the second year. Try to think differently. But like learning is not memorizing the book, learning from the book. It's trying to open yourself. And that experience is because I also benefit from it because I have been in industry and give me the exposure to learning. But the university also benefit by having that different perspective. And when I left all my lecture notes, all the teaching material, they all videotaped. I gave that to the students. If you have people in Sudan, you can try that model. I mean, in the university, it's hard to create a new position, okay? But as an endowment for a temporary 2 year in one field, you don't. Those people may not want to come permanently, okay? If they had a job in industry, they want to come, but if they spend a couple of years. And the same happened when I was at AT&T Labs. At that time, AT&T basically they gave that donation, and we have some engineers would like to donate 1 year of time at an university to help those universities. And that perspective is very different. And it can also create a lot of the dialogue with the other colleagues, and we talk to each other, collide, and then, because I have to learn from them how to teach. And they also ask me, so there are many events, but you have to start something. Okay, I'm not telling the whole solution.
Definitely.
But these are some of the small trials that people try.
What do you think other challenges that we can face?
Other countries of Sudan? Challenges of Sudan?
Yeah, I mean, of course, this conference is one of the purposes of this conference is to start to establish research. But we fear of the future, maybe it's be successful or not. So, what are the challenges that we should be expecting?
Challenges means that whether you can continue organizing conferences?
No, it's not only about conference. I mean, the conference, definitely this conference have drawn the attention of so many academics and industry about research. But from now on, I mean, I know some people started thinking about research, but they always fear, do we have enough skills? Do we have fund? I mean, they started to put like some obstacles, feeling of the future, whether we can carry on doing research, having more conferences, or so. I mean, from your own experience, what challenges that you have faced to establish good research?
Well, there is always a challenge, and you always have to come up with a solution to overcome, and that's that you have to figure it out, and that's why we do collaboration. That's why we find out different quality and different types of conferences where you know that I will be successful in publishing. And here is an example. Suppose you are all by yourself and writing papers, sent to a conference, and the conference reviewer says it's not acceptable. Happens all the time. So you get discouraged. And of course, what you do, you review based on the comments from the experts. That's what you think that is experts. And you revise the paper based on this comment and send it again somewhere else. Keep in mind, now you are taking another challenge because now the reviewers are completely different.
Yeah.
Their background different, the way they think is different, they will look at it is different, they will analyze differently. Therefore, you can come up with again another rejection.
Yeah.
That's another challenge, correct?
Yeah.
So the question is that, and people get, now that comes back, that people get highly discouraged that I wrote a paper, got rejected 2 times, 3 times from 3 different conferences.
Yeah.
What do I do next? Naturally, you need help. So you try to find there are multiple ways to do it, to overcome. Number one is, this is practical, that when you send a paper and I read your paper, I am making a subjective judgment, it's not necessarily an objective judgment. And so, when you are getting my comments, is basically what I feel, and the paper gets rejected. So now the question is, you need to figure out, there are so many conferences in the world or in the region based on your resource. Where should I send it that will be compatible to the level of the conference? Okay? If you can make that judgment, then it is highly likely that you will be successful. And once suppose you are sending 3 papers, one after the other, all gets accepted, naturally that gives you a confidence, encouragement, and to do more. If it gets rejected 3 times, opposite things happen. That's a human being. Psychological happens. So there are many ways to do it. One, you need to analyze the level of the conference that is compatible to your level of research. If you make a wrong judgment, then that's what you get into a bigger challenge. If you make a right judgment, then you'll be successful and you'll have confidence. Number one. Second, when it happens, you can always ask that can I have some expert in other places, other departments, other universities, who might be able to help me to make this publication successful. If you can find the right person, you'll be successful again. So it is basically, you need to find out a way. How can you be successful? No matter what you do, it's not just publication. Whatever. So that you need to carefully think about it.
So whatever you face, you need to look for solutions, not to...
That is correct.
Yes,
not,
shouldn't be a setback.
It's not that you stop.
You
need to find a solution, and that is what our life is. The people who makes the right judgment and successful all the time, 80% of the time, becomes more confident, becomes more successful. The person who cannot make the right judgment most of the time, not become successful. So now you need to think as an individual, how to carefully make the right judgment to become successful. And that also needs education, training, and maturity. And that also requires research.
That's very interesting. That's very good point to make. I think it's all about the obstacles that we put in our mind. So I always think that we put obstacles in front of ourselves. Maybe they are not there. Maybe they might not even happen. But when we have this fear, we think, well, it might happen. So why should I go that way if it's going to happen? But it might not happen. And even if it does happen, at that time we might find a solution. So why don't we just go ahead and try to... So I think it's a very good discussion, but we have to close this discussion. I really need from both of you a message for our young students, because most of them, at least the students that I have here in school, they need to hear a message from you.
But please, before that, doctors, what did you see during this visit to Sudan? Your look was different. There is a different view to Sudan now? You are in Sudan now.
What you expected and what you saw?
I did not really have expectation that, specifically in my mind, because I travel all over the world.
Okay.
And so I have a consistent expectation that I will go and learn something new, see something new. Okay? Exactly the same thing happens here. I came here and I saw something very different. It's a different country, different types of people, but I saw the people here, the way I saw the attendance of the conference, people are very serious and they want to grow based on the resource they have in this country, and so the question is, they probably need help, and we all should seek help and get help in order to become a true successful person. And that's what I see, and based on what I saw, and based on the activities that I'm involved in, I would be glad to get involved in collaboration with the people in Sudan and the universities in Sudan, and try to help as much as I can based on my experience and resources I have.
Okay, like so. John?
I would give comments to the efforts that you all have spent to make this conference happen, especially of course. But the amount of effort that you had spent on it is very positive. I'm very positive on what we've done. And I didn't know anything about Sudan before I come, except that it is a developing country. And I had, but I've heard of Khartoum many times before because I had some student communicating with me when I was in Cape Town from Khartoum. So I've seen their name, their academic certificate and email to me, and I enjoy helping people, especially the developing country, because I happen to be in the area of networking, and I know it is helpful to a lot of developing countries. So I'm not expecting what to get from it, but if I can do something to help, I very much like the developing countries to have a better future than what it is. That's for all the developing countries. And what I'm positive now is, see, the positive sign is that a lot of you are putting effort in it. That's a good start. And when you're seeking help, it might make it, when you're seeking help, it means you try to make it happen faster, and that's positive.
Okay, I have a last question. In our developed country, we want to develop and improve our research. What is the basic steps of this? We can establish this research in our country, because we have poor research culture here. Just in quick points.
The basic requirements to start research.
Poor what?
Research.
Poor research culture.
Poor research culture?
Yes.
Community.
What do we need to, like, basic
We
requirements?
don't have a lot of researchers and a lot of research here, so we need to start to improve with the basic steps.
You started already at the university. You're doing a lot of research already, but you also want to see the research, not just learning from what other countries are doing, because they're solving the problem for their own country.
Yeah.
You have a lot of problems that the rest of the world don't have as developing countries. And when you solve those problems, then they see that you are making positive impact to the society, including the poverty problem, including the health problem, including those problems. Then the society will see you as the leaders, and they will trust you with research. On the one hand, you had to look at the research from the more advanced countries, but in terms of how to apply that, how to use that, there are lots of open doors that you can develop. Those are the ones they cannot do. Wireless network is an example. It started in a lot of remote suburb area, like covered with snow. You cannot build the fiber because you cannot put the wire, and wireless is the only way. Now that happens in developing country also because you don't have the fiber. So some of them are common, and some of the problem that they solve is in the suburb area. People live in a lot of advanced country. People don't necessarily want to live in the city. They prefer to live far away. Because they can have more land, more fresh air, more nature. Now in the developing country, it is the problem. If you live so far away, you don't have a car, you cannot get a job. But if you give them the network, they can work even though they're very far away. The concept of working from home started in a lot of countries. That means when you have the network, those people can have job even though
So you don't have to commute.
they have to, a lot of them cannot find the way to get to the city to work. So you're solving those problems of a lot of the poor villagers can be enabled in health, in a lot of things enabled. So when you look at the problem of your own countries and try to solve that, I mean, if you don't solve that, who is going to solve it? You are the leader, and you can count on the Ministry of Health and so on. They will solve it, but you are the leader in research. You have to provide people. If you don't find the solution, at least you provide the people who have the mindset so that when they work in those industries, in those areas, they will solve those problems.
Okay, I think the time is running, as he's telling us. So what is your message to the students?
The message is do whatever you can do the best, and try and hope for the best. And I think you will probably be able to achieve things that you would like to see in future.
That's very deep. Thank you. Professor Chan, what is your message to the students? I think they are waiting for some encouragement.
I thought I said that already. I hope you enjoy the career because you're really, in research, you're really contributing to the society and make the human life better. When you go for that process, I mean, when you get a research, you get a job, your life will be improved. And what I normally advise the students is also remember those people who are disadvantaged. You are the leader in the country, you're the future of the countries. When you are in that position, don't just concentrate on what you have, on what lifestyle you have, but also remember those people and how we can help them.
Thank you very much. I think your messages are very clear, and they're really, promote students, the young people to work hard to do something for the people who really need their help.